meeting.
Connie signed these, this is just, we have to sign, this is the police one that he brought back. Just probably one for his copy, one for us.
Okay.
All rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So perfect. All right, our first appointment is Rose Cleveland. Discuss the Maple Street Bridge. Come on up here, Rose.
May I stay right here?
I'd appreciate if you come up here.
You go here with me? I'll take you. I see how you are. I also have my husband and Annette right here as well.
Okay. What is it you'd like to discuss?
I actually want to know what the intentions of the town is for the bridge.
What the intentions are?
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe we have any intentions on fixing it at the moment. But we are still studying it, and we're still, listening to see what things cost and that.
Well, are you going to put it this way after looking at it today?
Okay.
I think you might want to put it on the agenda, because after this last rainstorm has made it even more unsafe. And at this point, I would recommend even putting a groomer on that.
I don't believe the groomer ever goes on it.
I believe it does, I watch it.
The groomer goes across it. Is
Yeah, I
it the
believe it
snowmobile
does.
with
Yes.
the drag?
Whatever it
the
is, it's
drags?
bigger than a car.
The drags.
At this point in time, that bridge is very unsafe.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I wrote a letter to the Commissioner of the DOT last Thursday or Friday at their recommendation to have that evaluated for safety for this winter
Okay.
prior to the snowmobile club using it.
Okay.
I don't know how long that'll take, and I haven't heard from the commissioner yet, but one of the assistant commissioners recommended that we write that letter and ask them to evaluate it.
And the other question was that I was told that you guys were taking up bids for that, and the
Bids for
state,
what?
to see how much it was gonna cost to fix it.
Okay.
Never heard anything back about it. The state also talked, when they talked to Annette, said that they had started asking questions and the town never got back to them as well. So I'm kind of wondering where that's gone.
I have the history here. DOT wrote you a letter in June, the Board of Selectmen a letter, June 15th of 2010, recommending that the bridge be closed. You closed the bridge in 2010. At their recommendation, you filled out an application for bridge aid in February of 2013. The Department of Transportation came out on or about August 1st of 2013 and evaluated the bridge for replacement. The cost at that time was $880,000, of which the town would pay 20%, which was $176,000 at the time. I spoke to the commissioner a couple of weeks ago. He said that they are recommending that you use 5% per year. So that was 4 years ago. That would make the price today $1,056,000. Our share would be $211,000.
But we would have to fund the whole thing and get reimbursed.
Right, and we would have to get on the municipal managed bridge program, and right now they are out to 2026. So if we get on the list today, I anticipate that the bridge would get replaced in 2027.
Do you see our problem?
I don't, because I actually know for a fact that we had a personal appraisal done of the bridge, and it cost the appraisal price was $280,000, and he was going to bring it to the town And if that's not in your reports, then I would wonder where it went, and I would be discussing it with him to see.
We had you apparently had a private appraisal done of the bridge on April 15th, 2016 by Culvert Rehabilitation Services, a division of CLF and Son, and
Is
that
that
price
correct?
was $566,000.
Wait a minute, listen.
No,
That price was $566,000, which is considerably more than the 20% or 211. And I believe the road agent was meeting with Mischie Brothers today to see if there's something else that can be done. The problem is that whatever we do to that bridge, we can't just have an engineer go in and fix that bridge for what we can afford. It will have to be approved by DOT and by Wetlands Bureau. So it will have to meet all the current requirements, and it's unlikely that it would be less than either the 880 or the 566, and I believe the 566 was in 2016.
Did you understand that?
I did understand that, but it still doesn't jive with the numbers that I've got.
Then you bring the numbers to us.
Well, he was supposed to have brought the numbers to you before she became town administrator, so I'm gonna have to go back and find out. Because that's not the company that we had do it, right, Bob? No.
Okay. Well, that's what we have, so.
And his appraisal price for the total cost was $280,000.
Correct. But
And,
you
but
still
that has
gotta
to be approved by
you still gotta
DOT
be
and
approved
Wetlands.
by the
I
state.
totally understand that. This company's the company that took the dam down. They know what they're doing. They are, funded.
The problem is we would have to put it out to bid because of the cost of
And
it.
supposedly, when that happened, they were supposed to have done that, and I haven't heard anything back from you from that. We
We have never, I can tell you that we have never, even before my time, put that bridge out to bid, because there would be documentation of that. They might have asked for requests for proposals, or they might have, informally asked for a company for proposal, but the file has all this in it, and there are no bid documents in there. And if we went with bid documents, they'd have to be approved by DOT as well.
Hun, was that last year that the bids were supposedly supposed to be
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
So
And that would have been a public servant of this town telling us that when it was incorrect.
So we have put on the warrant multiple years to put more money in the capital reserve fund. I believe last year it was $10,000.
The exact words of the public person, and I don't remember who it was that told us, I'm not gonna get anybody in trouble, but they said that you were putting out bids. And that's what we were told.
That didn't happen. I'm sorry, but it didn't happen. We would know if
All
it
right, well,
happened.
that's fine, I just will keep coming to the selectmen
And
when we
we-
have an issue, because obviously,
And we
behind
can't
doors.
put it out to bid because we don't have the 20% we would need. We don't have anywhere near the 20% we would need to actually do it, and we wouldn't get on the municipal managed bridge program until
But
2026.
having the 20% is the least of it. You
Yeah,
gotta
you
have it all.
gotta get on the list before you can even consider.
Correct, but you would have to have all 800, let's just say it was 800,000, you'd have to have all $8 million in order to do it,
Okay,
and then you
so-
get reimbursed.
Okay,
which
so
is-
now we're gonna go back to the safety issue. What are you gonna do if that bridge is found unsafe and needs to be fixed?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. No, if it's unsafe, obviously we'll have to do something.
I mean, the sides are receding because it's been left like that for so long,
You just got to understand,
Yeah.
this is not something small. This is something
oh,
that's
believe me, I
huge.
know it's huge.
So in order to do things like that, those things, the taxpayer has to say that it's okay to pay it.
I understand that.
That's the
And
tough part.
I do understand that. The other thing is I have a question, Bridge Street Bridge. It says that 70 cars go across that a year, and this is like a couple of years back. But then it said 148 cars go across the Maple Street Bridge when it was open. Why is there such a difference between the 70 and the 148? They're both the same street.
I do not know, and I've never heard that.
It's written up in your paperwork.
Okay, hold on. Lee, you got an answer for that?
The 2016 Municipal Bridge Red List from DOT states the Maple Street Bridge, when it was closed in 2008, had 70 cars average daily traffic on it,
Okay.
not 140 on it.
Actually, I'm taking that from the minutes from the town, that's the only reason.
Okay.
I was wondering why.
This
if
is
there
a
was such
traffic
difference.
study that DOT did the year they closed it.
Okay, so good. All right, we'll take it under advisement, and we'll wait to hear, Kelly, like she said, she's asked the state to come out and to evaluate it. We'll at least get the evaluation, and then we'll see which direction to move.
Okay, because my direction, business-wise, depends on that bridge as well, so
That, I can understand.
I don't know how much of that you're aware of. I know that Connie's aware of it, but my decision on how I go about making town happy on that end depends on what the bridge, what direction the bridge is. And I also heard rumors that they are gonna close it completely and there wouldn't be a road there at all, which comes back to the other part of my agenda, where the town plows come into my yard and turn around. I've actually, since I've been there, haven't had a problem with them pushing the snow back, and I still don't have a problem with it. But it's wearing my parking lot out. And I thought
Do
this
you
was
want
gonna,
them down there to plow it all?
it's a town road, you still gotta plow it.
Do you think that if there's no place for us to turn around, that we should say, discontinue it? Or, I mean, I'm just saying that it might be hard to turn around something to accommodate you at the end. I would think that would be a courtesy thing out of you wanting us to at least do the best that we can to get you plowed out.
All right, well, you're also going over my sewer system right in that section as well.
Then maybe
And I
we'll
was-
mark that out and we'll make sure that Lee knows.
And I was
where that
also
is.
told that when I bought the place, that there is an easement for that, and I'm not getting, or tax whatever for it. Because I have to pay for the repairs of the road because of that. I don't mind helping the town, but on the other sense, when I bought the property, it said there was a tax, I should be getting a tax, I don't know, abatement or whatever they call it here in this town, for both the snowmobile club that's on my property and the,
That would be something with the assessing department.
Yeah, you could stop letting the snowmobile club and we could dead end the plowing, but that will make a big wall at the end of your property and I can't imagine you
Yeah.
want that. That's why we turn around.
actually, you can't, by federal law, I believe, it could be state law, you can't block my property in either with plows.
And believe me, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't want to, right? We wouldn't want to. We want you plowed out. We want you to be safe and all that. So we'll take that under advisement. And as soon as I hear back from,
He's got something.
Yep.
As far as turning around, if you do not want us to turn around, as long as your neighbor across the street moves his boats and cars off the road, because you can't park anything in the road.
He's gonna be uncooperative
We
because
can-
I'm in the process of.
Okay, let him
Let me finish.
yeah,
We can go from the railroad tracks down the left-hand side of the road, we can back up to the tracks, and we can go down the right-hand side of the road. All that snow is going to your driveway. State law does not say I have to move snow, I have to get it off the road. Snowbanks are part of clearing roads. There is no law that says I can't put snow at the edge of the roads.
but deliberately, we are not going to do it. You understand that?
Yeah.
You know that.
Yes,
So-
but I'm not making it that, basically, if I have rent, I've been renting to people.
Mhm.
I mean, if people come in, you can't block, it, like deliberately make it impossible for us to get in and out. There's a big difference between a 20-foot snowbanking and just going down the road.
State law
Driving by
requires me
it
to clear
and
the
plowing
road.
snow and moving it, and it ends up at the end of your driveway. Yeah. it
And
makes-
that is another issue altogether that needs to be addressed, but I am gonna be addressing that before winter with the neighbor. I've
Yeah,
been working with.
that's beyond us. So-
Well, actually, it's him being mad at me is creating them a problem, because they got the boat, and I got the trailers moved, but the boat's still there, so.
But
We
no,
had,
it's
we had a
all-
couple incidences last year where the plows sideswiped vehicles. I've told my guys, if there's vehicles in the road, don't even go down.
So, but we'll try.
I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't mind them using my driveway, but I mean,
Well, it obviously, there's an issue, so we're going to address it. And like he just said, he's got it figured out, so we'll take care of it. And if you could, make sure that if you've got something that may get run over, please make it known to us or to Lee that if your septic system or something is somewhere, we wouldn't know
it's
that.
on the planning. I didn't know it myself, I just found
So we
out.
wouldn't
So
know
I'm
that.
not upset that you guys, I'm just saying,
But we'll accommodate to that, and we'll take this under advisement. As soon as we hear from the state, we'll let you know.
All right, so, and then I have some other things that are not on the agenda. Do I wait till the second public comment?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good job, Lee. All right, good. Public comment? Hi, Joe.
How you doing, everyone?
Good.
I just wanted to dovetail on that last conversation, primarily because with the Department of Transportation, I've been hanging out with them for the last 2 months, you know, attending all these governor's advisory kind of intermodal transportation hearings. So we've gone in this district from Claremont to Errol to Laconia. And so with that, I've kind of learned a lot about where the state, from a budgeting standpoint, what they're looking at through their 10-year highway improvement plan, and what their projected revenues are going to be here for the next 10 years. One of them is the state aid bridge program, which they're looking at about $8.5 million in the coming years. So there is a long list when it comes to that bridge aid program for municipalities. You know, it pushes out to 2026, and it is a competitive program. With regards to that bridge down in Union, about 2 years ago, we brought the Commissioner of DOT, Virginia Sheehan, along with Deputy Commissioner Bill Cass. And so they went to one side of the bridge and went to the other side of the bridge. And both of them are engineers. And they said at that time, if the abutments were good, they could probably do a short-term restoration project so that long-term, you could look at a rehabilitation or replacement bridge project. So what I'm offering to do is to work with the town, with both commissioners, bring them back to that site and saying, what can you do in the short term, okay, that's cost effective for the town, and then look at it from a long-term standpoint. Because if you look at that project, you know, down the street, the other bridge, I believe I was on the Board of Selectmen there in 2000 when that was replaced. It's a single bridge, so you might want to look at this bridge as being a single bridge, which would bring down the cost of that bridge by making a full replacement. And they're saying here, you know, that the average municipal bridge replacement is about $900,000 in most communities here in New Hampshire. So I think we can lower that cost. That's what I'm suggesting. And so if we do a 20% match, you know, in the future, I think we can, you know, get it down. The other thing too is, you know, Conway, for instance, is doing a kind of a managed design construction project for one of their projects up there. The town could enter into that as well with regards to this bridge. So they could oversee kind of the design construction aspect of the bridge to even further lower the cost. Because what I'm hearing is you've got a bridge, not a lot of traffic, with a big, you know, price tag to it. And the whole idea is, can we cut that down a third or maybe in half and still get it open and make it, you know, so it gets off the red listed bridge list. So, and I know just recently, and I don't know how it was used, but Senate Bill 38 gave the town of Wakefield $116,000. Was that used for any project this year, resurfacing? Or?
It's earmarked right now for Union sidewalk repair.
Okay.
It won't take the whole 116 though.
Okay.
We're not spending it this year. We're waiting until the spring of next year because we didn't have any shovel-ready projects.
Okay. Because there's been a lot of confusion just around the state on, you know, how it can be used, when it can be used. So I'm glad to know that that's being used. The other thing is, with regards to the highway block grant to the towns and cities, Wakefield got $120,000 for, I believe it's 2018. So and that's all good, and that helps out the community. But I just wanted to, you know, offer, you know, my ability to get the information on the old bridge, bring it forward, get the commissioners down there, see how we can come up with something for the short term, and with a long-term solution, but knowing that we have to be very mindful of the taxpayers in trying to lower the cost of that project. Because if you really look at that bridge, it's not really much of a bridge.
No, I can't figure out why it's so much money, but that's because you get all these engineers and all these people that are just making tons of moolah money, when you can have the local guy get down there and put a big culvert in, put some dirt around it, and it'd be safe, and I know that, but.
You and I think alike.
I know.
I agree.
You got a lot of things that you're paying for that's completely, I mean, it's just unheard of, and that makes it hard for everybody, and it makes it hard for those people in Union. We can't spend 800, 900,000, the people ain't gonna spend it. So like you said, by having a little help, I don't have a problem trying to help and get something done, but there's gotta be a better, shorter way to do this, when I know in the construction business, it's a culvert.
You're absolutely right, and so while it's a 20% match, the public here is at $809,000 price tag. They're thinking that's what we're paying.
Correct.
Well, we are in one way indirectly as taxpayers at the state level and local level. But my objective would be to help out the town, try to lower the cost, see if we can come up with a short-term solution. Because at the time, 2 years ago, the commissioner was saying it was potentially a $30,000 short-term fix. And so I think that's probably more palatable than if you look at something that's
If it was
20% of $1 million.
If it was that, we'd fix it.
Yeah.
You don't think we'd fix it? We'd fix it.
Sure.
But it's not. It's because of all the regulations that go with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if
Do you
get-
have that in writing from the commissioner?
I have a very close relationship with Commissioner Sheehan and Bill Cass, very close. I've worked with them for 4 years, so I take them at their word. And I'll take them at their word that they'll come out here.
I'm just
and
asking
look
to
at that.
see if we should have that in our files somewhere, because I didn't find it.
Well, I don't always operate in files or written correspondence. I have relationships as an executive council with my commissioners throughout all state government. And when they say that they'll come here and they'll readdress what they said 2 years ago, but it all comes down to the abutments. Those abutments have to be solid and secure. If those abutments are not solid and secure, we're not looking at, a restoration project.
Right,
We're
and
looking
I
at
need
a
a written,
rehabilitation.
right, and I need a written amount to put on the warrant, so I
No,
can't put what
well,
the
that's why I
commissioner
would
said 2
bring
years
them,
ago.
that's why I would bring them back out
Correct.
long before whatever, and then I would get something in writing for you at that point. But you have to understand, a lot of times I do drive-bys, road projects, bridges, and we have a lot of conversations along the way. And sometimes, when it's serious and we think we can execute it, get something done, that's when it's all put down on paper. But this was a conversation 2 years ago, so maybe there's a 5% increase per year. So
Get some of the higher ends out of it and let some of the smaller things happen, and I think things can get done. It's just, nothing gets done when you're talking, you got 40 different people to go through before you can get one item completed.
Right, well, always free to, reach out to me. On another topic, you've got your turntable park here. I know the town has been approached with regards to that. I've received an email from you as well. But if there's any, opportunity, I know that the 10-year lease has, is, I guess, coming to an expiration date. But with that, I'm talking to Chris Camacho, I guess they would say it's in a holdover as far as the lease. And so if the town does move to try to acquire that property, please, I'm glad to work with the town. The other thing too is that all land that is leased or given up by the state or transferred goes through government council for approval. So I'm going to see it, one way or another. But if you need any help with that up front, then work with the Rails and Trails Bureau and seeing what the cost might be to acquire that property. Is that still in the interest of the town?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, if you want me to put a light, under anybody to start pushing that, let me know. I'd be glad to do that. But I know it's budget season, and those are considerations that you're going to look at, so.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Joe, just had a question on the bridge.
Yes.
To change it to a single lane, is there one side that could be salvageable, maybe at less of a cost to allow travel, or is it just it needs to go?
Well, I think, again, the short-term fixes, you could probably use the existing bridge and probably do a restoration project. Long-term, you're either gonna have to do a full rehabilitation or you're gonna have to do a full replacement. If you did a full replacement, you could bring it down to a single lane bridge and the cost would go down as well. So that's, again, that's it's an option.
Thank you.
I'll give you 1 second to respond.
I have a question about the convents. I was told by the guy that just left that the state will not allow them. Why?
Allow them one.
Instead of putting the bridge like it is, put what you were just saying, the convents in instead, which would be cheaper. Why won't they let us do that on that bridge?
It's all engineering. I can't answer that.
Well, that's the highway, the head of the highway department,
The
correct?
Wetlands Bureau has new rules about open bottom culverts for environmental reasons. Like it used to be, you could just take a 24-inch culvert or a 36-inch, but now there's the wetland, it goes through DOT and wetlands because there needs to be hydrology and hydraulic studies. And one of the things that they require is the open bottom bridge with the bottom buried so that the wildlife that
Yeah,
lives
but couldn't
in.
they do the same thing they did with the bridges on 125 right over at Two Jones?
Well, that'll be up to them. We can't make, we're not engineers and we're not anything.
Yes.
All we're gonna do is, we're gonna put it, obviously, you see Joe, we got our executive council meeting here today, but he's gonna step in it. We've already got it out to the thing, so just know that we're looking into it and we'll have to wait and see what the answers are. Okay? And that?
I just wanted to just put it out there, just for one more little thing. A few years back, I and Teresa Williams did a warrant article for the Maple Street Bridge by petition, and the voters voted to put money in the bridge construction fund for specifically the Maple Street Bridge, and on the voting thing, it also said for the Canal Bridge. So I just wanted to put it out there, that it was a warrant article for the Maple Street Bridge to put in the bridge fund,
We'll look at that.
for both of them. Thank you.
Anybody else wanna, public comment? All right, we're gonna move on. Go ahead.
When the engineers come, could we be notified so we could,
If
Be
we
there?
have them in the public eye, you'll be notified.
okay.
And I don't see any problem letting people know what the answers are, by all means. It's
You'll
not-
probably know before I do, because they don't always call me and tell me when they're gonna come. So you may see them out there and they may not even notify me.
Yeah,
If they
so-
notify me, I'll let you know.
We'll just wait and see what the answer. Good.
When the commissioner comes out, would the town administrator and board of selectmen like to come out to that meeting as well?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Anything that we can know that, so that we're not here blindfolded.
Yeah.
I mean, makes a big difference.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on. Health insurance renewal.
So I've received the renewal from Health Trust. Our health insurance went down 6.2% and our dental
Thanks, Joe.
insurance
Thanks, Joe.
went up 2%. I just need you guys to authorize me to sign the renewal form. I haven't done the whole budget figure of what it's gonna cost this year, but it did go down 6.2%, so that's some good news.
Let's have a motion on the table to give
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
administration. All in favor? Aye. So be it. Resolution?
So we have talked about offering the town's health insurance to part-time employees of 20 hours or more at their cost. And I did a resolution. This would allow us to offer it to the part-time employees who work 20 hours or more a week, or average 20 hours or more per week at their 100% their cost. It waives the 60-day waiting period for current employees that have already met the 60-day waiting period, but there would be a 60-day waiting period for any new part-time and permanent employees that qualified, similar to our full-time employees. And the premiums may be deducted from payroll with the employee's written permission.
Will that be a pre-tax or post-tax?
It'd be pre-tax. We have a pre-tax agreement.
I'm good with it. So do we need a motion on the table to accept this as written?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a first and a second. Any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Tax deeding.
So we started out a couple months ago with 62 properties on the deed list. We are down to, I believe, 14 today.
Awesome.
I have had, so I think you remember a couple meetings ago, I had you guys consider and adopt a payment plan that is different than the payment plan that the statute allows people to make informally with a tax collector. So up until the deed date, people can informally make payment plans with a tax collector, and they can run credits on their accounts or pay whatever year they'd like to. Once you get to the deed date, only the Board of Selectmen can make payment plans. So you had voted to, you had voted a payment policy. Based on that policy, I have had 2 taxpayers send in a letter requesting a payment plan. Because there's some private financial information in those requests, I'd ask that you just refer to these as by their map and lot number and not the letter that they wrote, but I did prepare this. So the top is the agreement that you would, if you agree, that you would enter into, and I would notarize your signatures, and then they will come and notarize it. The first one is map 34. 3440. And that one, the person is offering to pay $250 every other week. They get paid every other week. So there'd be a couple months where there'd be 3 payments. You agree to abate $1,215 at the end of the agreement, and that's the interest and tax to date, but the interest and tax will continue to accrue on the older ones. So this payment plan is for all 3 years plus 17's first issue.
So we'd only abate the $1,215 after they have
Totally met the requirements.
their agreement. I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
and that's to give them, because you're going to,
Incentive.
right, and because you're also continuing to accrue interest on the old, you leave the old deed year intact so that if they breach the contract, you can send them a 30-day letter and go ahead and deed it.
That sounds fair.
Based on this person's payment plan and the potential abatement at the end of the payment plan, it would take them until December of 2018 to pay this off.
Which is just a year.
And they also agreed to pay all new taxes as they come due.
Awesome.
So this would be one person potentially off the deed list for the next 3 years, which doesn't really happen when they only pay the deed year. They'll be on, potentially be on the deed list next year for 15.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and if, I mean, the reason that I put this forward to the Board of Selectmen is because it's another opportunity for people to pay. We don't wind up owning the property, we don't have to insure it, we don't have to auction it off for a portion of its value. I mean, we don't have to evict people from their residential homes, all the things that we don't want to do, and we get the taxes, which is what the rest of the residents want, is that we just
the
want.
taxes, we just don't want,
want
we don't
the
want the
taxes.
property. So do we need a motion to accept this and sign it?
Yes.
All
And I
right,
have,
do
I
you
have
think
the
we
original.
really like it?
Will there be a formal?
This is the
we-
contract.
We have to sign it first.
Yep, and then.
Are
and
these
then-
little lines here for initials?
Yes, for them, so the first one that I'm putting before you, the husband and wife are both on the deed, so they both have to sign it, and their signatures all have to be notarized, and there's lines so that we know that they understand each, and I go through it. I have already emailed this to him, so he knows about it, because this is, taken directly from his offer letter of what he was willing to pay and thought he could pay, and I counseled him that don't make a payment plan you can't keep, because if you breach the contract, there would be no other opportunity. We'll deed it, eviction, sell it at some point. So I think that he understands the importance of it, and the fact that it'll get him off the list. And actually, on this one, I believe he intends to give us his income tax money next year and hopes that pretty much pays it off.
I think it's a great offer. It's not miscellaneous money. I mean, he's really making an attempt to make an offer, paying that much money every 2 weeks as for trying to say $50 a month. You know, so I'm gonna, I mean, as for one board member, I'm okay with this.
So what I did was, the agreement is the first tab, and then I can notarize your signatures, and then the second tab is a waiver so that the tax collector doesn't take the property.
Okay? So do I have a motion on the table to accept the contract as written?
So moved.
Second.
Any more questions, Lino? Tony?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Which ones do you want us to sign? That one?
Yeah, please, because it's got both the, I don't think I gave you the waiver in your packets.
Do we have another one?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Do you want me to start talking
Yeah, okay.
while you're signing?
Yep.
All right, so the second one is similar to the first one. The amount is actually $700 a month and would be paid off in October of 2018. You'll note in that agreement, because it's so much money, he will commence paying in November of 2017, but we'll skip December so that he can make that December tax payment, and then resume in January, and that'll give him time to save the money for the July taxes. Again, it would be $1,201. He is on that deed singly, so there's only one signature line. And I did this, and he also, there's a letter here. He originally had it at $800 a month, but when I counseled him about please don't make a payment plan you can't keep, then he asked to cut it down to $700 and initialed it.
I think that's great. That's a big payment, and that shows intent to try to do the right thing.
And again, I did a waiver also, so I have a waiver to give the tax collector if you agree on that one as well.
Motion accept.
Second.
I think it's a great program. It's a good. All in favor?
Aye.
So those are the only two agreements I have. I am not authorized to make payment agreements, only you are, so I don't know how you want to handle it if I get a call in the next couple of
I think you did just
days.
fine. I'm good with that. You did
You
good.
did a good job on this.
If I get a call for a payment plan in the next 2 days, because the deadline is 2 o'clock on Friday, do you want me to take a letter and try to poll you guys and hold it for the next meeting, and you could sign waivers in case we need them, or would you rather?
I think she can, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm comfortable with you making that decision. By all means, I don't think you're out to, maybe we can just be notified, so if we had something to say, it'd be different, but I don't, to hold
Well,
it
you
up.
guys would have to sign the contract. I'm not sure you could even authorize me to sign the contract.
No, but I mean, you can accept.
We can authorize you to accept it.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying. We'll
I
sign
can,
it.
I can do what I did for this one. I would
That's what I'm
take the
saying,
letter,
yeah.
I would figure it out, I would, you know, it has to make sense for the town too. My experience with these is if they go on beyond a couple of years, people, you know, other things happen in
They're
life
gonna
and
fail.
it's difficult to pay, so I'm optimistic that because these are so much money and such short term that they'll be successful and we
I
won't
think
have to
maybe
take the
that's
property.
something that you look at when you're talking about it, how short, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and but you have to be realistic. I don't want somebody to not be able to keep up with the payment plan and just make it so that we don't deed it, because at the end of
That
the day.
bottom
we-
sheet is that waiver thing. No, I think that's a great, I love it.
Mhm.
Good job.
So, that having been said, do you want to sign waivers? So we have a waiver for an IRS property that we definitely need to sign because we don't want to take a property. The IRS is the only one whose liens take precedent over ours, so we don't want to take that property. I brought waivers for all the properties in case, but we don't need to give them to the tax collector until 2 o'clock on Friday, so do you want to sign waivers for everything? And if we can make payment plans, give them to the tax collector, and if we can't, let it deed? How do you want to handle that?
I think if they're trying and they get it in by Friday, we gotta make arrangements so that they can do it by having you okay it and then we sign it.
The thing is that Angela's job, the tax collector's job is to execute a tax deed at 2:01 on Friday afternoon. Without a waiver from you, she will execute those deeds.
I know what
So-
you're saying.
So if you had some, you could email us and we could come in, at least 2 of us could come in and sign it on Friday before she had. the
Or you
deed.
could sign all the waivers right now and just make a motion that they not be used unless there's an executed agreement
That's
or
fine, too.
there's some other compelling reason. So, we had Nate look at all the properties to see if there were any that we didn't want to take. I believe this is what he has, done for you annually. And he does a description, you know, so one of the reasons that towns don't take tax deeded property is if there's known contamination, you know, if it's a Superfund site, we'd rather let the federal government clean it up than us tax deeding it, and now we have to pay to clean it up because we can get less grants than the federal government. Another reason that the towns sometimes don't take tax deeded property is because if we tax deed a mobile home, for example, and it has park rent, the town has to pay the park rent every month. That's a statute. So some towns don't take mobile homes, others do and pay the park rent and sell the mobile or move it off. Again, I think for us, I think it's important that we leave that wiggle room to make those agreements if anybody can make a payment agreement and is willing to. But other than that, I don't, and other than that and the IRS lien for sure. So I had you sign the 2 waivers on the ones we have written agreements, and I would definitely sign the agreement on the IRS lien. Again, if you want to sign waivers on all of them, then I can hold them and only give them to the tax collector if they make a successful payment plan before 2 o'clock on Friday, or we can let the tax collector execute the deeds.
What do you think, Lino? I think-
We sign them and at 2:01 or whatever is not claimed or whatever is not under agreement,
That's what it
it's
is.
deeded. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So then, if there's no active agreement, then I would shred the waivers and only give her the waivers for the 2 payment plans and the
And the payment
IRS
plans
lien.
that may come in front of you. No,
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Motion to sign the deed waivers and to be used as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
I think you'll be fine.
I've done it in other towns and it's been successful. If it keeps
I'm
a few
sure you're
people.
not gonna get them all, but,
No, but if it keeps a few people in their home, I'd rather they stayed in their homes than that we
yeah,
have more tax
we're
deeded
not in the
property.
real estate business. You're just damn tax collectors.
So we're down to 14.
That's awesome.
Great, that's nice.
Yeah, from
Actually-
62, you said?
So you got another one? Oh, we might be down to 13.
Good.
You said 62 we had? at the
Yeah, a
beginning?
couple months ago it was 62. At the beginning of this week, I think we were down to 37. Or Friday, we were down to 37. So it's coming in.
Okay.
Are we actively,
Go ahead.
are we actively seeking these people out, or is it just they're coming in on their own?
She's having a lot of communication.
Yeah,
There's some
there,
communication.
yeah, there's been people, I think there's been another, 3 or 4 on the list that said they'd be in for sure before Friday. I have talked to a couple more about payment plans, but they weren't interested in being tied to paying all 3 years. They just wanted to pay the deed year. And that's certainly their prerogative to just pay the deed year and work it out. Some of them have said they'd pay the deed year and then make payment plans with Angie to pay off the other years, so
Everyone.
whatever works for people. I don't think there's any one right way to do it, as long as we,
As long as we get it done.
Okay, very good.
so was that everything I needed to talk to them about?
We're gonna sign these real second here before we move on. Me and Ms. Twombley. All those times you practice writing your name in school, it really pays off, you know it?
Oh, really?
Or you can just get a stamp.
Or you can be fortunate to get a stamp.
You
Right?
can have a stamp.
I've practiced enough in school. You want these to shred these?
Hash brown's gonna go all the work.
These are junk, it's junk. And here's the pictures you have. Okay, provisions of winter sand to private contractors. What are we doing about that this year?
I was hoping Lee would stick around for that.
I didn't even see it on this one, could have, but what is it, is he saying?
You set the rate last year for the sale, the sale of winter sand, and I didn't know if you wanted to keep it the same. The price is fairly steady. I mean, from $8.10 a ton and $10.52 a yard, it's gone up to $8.35 for a ton and $10.86 for a yard. So the price isn't
It's the same.
huge, but I don't know, did you charge them the actual? Because if you charge them the actual, then you should just make the motion to, did we? We rounded it up. We rounded it up
Yeah,
to 850 or?
well, we didn't, you don't really know, I mean.
Oh, right, because you don't know. Yeah.
Sold it by yard rather than by ton.
Okay.
And I think that, I mean, I'm willing to keep it the way it is at the moment, and if it changes a little bit, then it'll change to whatever it is.
So if you rounded it up to $11 a yard last year, it's $10.86, that would still,
And that sounds fine.
you're
to
okay
me.
with that?
Yep.
Okay.
You okay with that, Lino?
Oh, well, yeah, do we incur any cost of loading it, or do they load it themselves?
Kinda. I thought we were trying to weed down from having it all together eventually, but,
Well, do you want to table this and I'll have Lee, I'm sorry, I should have taken it out of order when Lee was here. We can have him weigh in on it if you'd like.
I don't see anything, I mean, it's gonna be whatever it costs us, and if it's only $10.86, and then the little extra on there will cover, the loading of it, it's,
Yeah, I think he
and we
is,
got less last year.
I think we just leave it out front and I think he tries, I think he loads that pile, but I think he tries not to load it.
At all.
And they load it themselves. That's why we put it out at the front of the
Yeah.
transfer
And I'm
station,
good
or
with
at
that.
the front of the barn, and definitely not during a storm. He just doesn't have,
No, and he's been getting better each year on being firm, and that works. But, yeah, I mean, it's the way it's always been, and I guess we just leave it alone.
okay.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
Is there other places in town that sell sand to other contractors that we
No.
would be competing against?
I mean, Osby Ag, where we get it, it's, and the only ones that are using it would be that are closer than going to Osby Ag, obviously, which be more people down this direction than up in East Wakefield. If I was in East Wakefield, I'd go to Osby Ag, because it's just easier to get it.
No, it's
It's
just,
not any difference, because you're paying the same.
right, and the private contractors using it on Wakefield roads, or is this just open to anybody?
It's only for local private roads. And we used to have where the roads would have a signature of some sort,
We
right?
still have that form.
We still have a form that
Lee.
they request, that shows us that they are a private road in town of Wakefield.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, motion to accept, just leave it as it is, and unless things change, and if it changes, we give Lee the authority to just bring it to whatever it needs to be? Or is that what you were asking? Or just leave it to the way it is?
Well, yeah, I mean, if the price goes up, I don't know if this has a state bid list and it's firm for the winter, or, you know, if it went up in January to 20 bucks a ton, or, you know, 20 bucks a ton, or 20 bucks a yard, I'm assuming that you want to at least recoup our
All we want
cost.
is what it costs us to take.
Okay.
So,
So we're gonna round up our cost,
yeah,
even if it changes.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a motion for that? Is that-
Yeah, because only you guys can set I can't set prices and Lee can't do that, so.
So can I get a motion on the table for that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and everything that we just discussed, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. CRF expenditures, capital reserve funds, looks to me like town hall improvements, is amount requesting is $2183, $2,183, that's for the installment of the painting of the connector.
Have you guys looked at it?
Yeah,
Looks good, doesn't it?
yeah, it's all clean.
You don't realize how bad it was
Until
until
you
you
see
see
the
it
right
freshly
color.
painted.
Yeah, it's like,
Looks good.
and Mr. Richards is doing a good job.
Motion, do you want to make it?
No, go ahead.
Motion to pay the second installment of $2,183 out of expense account 01-4939-1940.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, looks like that was it. Now we got correspondence. We have a letter in front of us to me, the chairman. Ex-taxpayers, they're asking us to appoint required members to the school board. Is that something we want to do? Or is that something, I mean,
I believe
yeah,
it's been done already.
Either the
Right,
chairman or the
that's
school
the
board is there if you'd like to
chairman.
recognize him.
yeah. So should I ask him about the letter? Steve, Steve, the chairman? Hi, Steve. Steve, do you know what letter we're talking about?
No, not exactly, but I've heard,
Well, I'm
I've heard
looking
a
at it
rumor
now.
of it.
We have a taxpayer in town that would like us to request to appoint the remaining required board members to the school. Is that something that you want us to do, or is that something you guys are in the makings of doing now?
It's already been taken care of.
All right? So if it's already been taken care of, we can't appoint anything, so it's case closed. Done.
You,
We'll just take it under advisement, Mr. Chairman.
Taken under advisement. That way we make sure that I mean, it's all been done, is what you're saying, and it's all,
taken care of early this evening.
you got it. Okay, public comment. Anybody else wants, go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
And because I am not from New Hampshire originally, I do not know everything about this, the legalities of this area.
Okay,
I would like to know what the title for town administrator is, like, the definition of it.
town administrator, which is in charge of all departments and the runnings of our day-to-day operations
And they are hired by?
by us, the board,
Okay. And you are hired by?
by the people of this community.
Okay. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
You have answered my question. And I
Okay,
have one more thing.
all right, hurry up. You got
I'm actually addressing this to Connie.
it. Okay,
Through some of the issues that I've been dealing with in the last couple of weeks, we've had some hard words. And I've learned that some people in this town can be very stubborn and very caveman, or I had a word for it and I can't remember it now. And in some sense of that word, it could have been a misinterpretation between you and me because of that. You have to work this town. I'm not even in the town official's office, and I'm having issues right now with certain people in town. So I am actually going to extend a friendly, I'm not going to apologize, but I'm going to say that I would like to try to work with you and not have the heated problems that we have had. And I do not want to have to bring a lawyer involved and all that. I know I said I would, but I'm not going to. I do have a lawyer to oversee what's going on with me. But I think that things got heated and things got said, and I wanted to bring it up in the public because you are a representative of my town, and I don't want to have a heated problem with you. I don't know. I'm doing an awful job of saying what I want to say, and hopefully there's not going to be any hard feelings between us. Maybe we can work something out. I think you have a very difficult job, considering that some of the people that live in this town have been here a long time and are set in their ways. So I brought my husband because I wanted him to hear this as well, because I know we have a lot of more difficult stuff to discuss, but I don't want to have a problem with you as a person.
Well, everything can be discussed. So that's the point that, that we all gotta understand, that just because they're her, him,
Well, I
us,
think,
we
I
don't
know
all,
what was said, but I also understand.
we all don't agree, but we
Yeah, well,
surely
she
would
said
like to
something that I probably wouldn't have said in a meeting, but the thing is after hearing some of the stuff I've heard, because I am actually thinking about running for selectman this year, I've had people come to me and say things that I'm like, if she's had to deal with this as long as she's had to deal with it, I think I might have said things too.
Very good.
So I hope you accept
I do.
what I'm trying to say.
Very good.
All right,
Thank you for making that thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not
Annette.
about the bridge,
Okay.
I promise. I just have a question about the tax people that have to pay the taxes by Friday. Is there a minimum that you will accept for these people? Because my concern is that there's a lot of people in town, and it's a roller coaster when you're facing possibility of losing your house and everything. My father went through it 21 years ago. Like, if they come to Angie and say they can only pay $25, $30 a month on their taxes, is that going to be acceptable? Because you said whatever they could pay. And some people have to choose between their cancer pills, their insulin pills, or their medicine, or eating and paying the taxes.
Well, to answer that, I'm sure that everything will be considered
Okay.
by all means.
I just asked for-
And hardship is always considered, especially with us in this town.
Because I just wanted to put it out there that, people,
And we know
don't
that. We know.
purposely don't want to pay the taxes. Well, there might be a few, but most of the people don't.
No.
And,
The problem is we're to the
there was-
we're up to the D date on 2014, it's been 3 years. So the time for making small
It's hard.
monthly payments is over. It has to get paid off, and it has to be a written notarized contract for 2014. Once they pay 2014, which is deeding on Friday, they can make an informal, smaller payment with Angie, agreement with Angie for 15 or 16, or the first issue is 17. But 14 has reached the end of all those appeals, and because it's been 3 years.
I know, I just wanted to put it out there that, some people have to decide, do I pay my taxes on Friday, or do I pay my cancer?
And Annette, you know us well enough that
I know.
we would make that something that we would
I
discuss.
just, put it out there.
You got it.
Not everyone has a lot of money.
I know that, yeah,
In
I
town,
know that
that
very much so.
They have to decide,
And I'm not gonna let them
Thank you.
decide between medicine and
Thank you.
living, okay? Or at least myself, I'm
Thank
not
you.
gonna let them decide that. Okay, we're gonna move on, town administrator update.
So I need some direction from the board on writing off ambulance billing. I have a disposition report from Comstar, who is, as you know, our billing agency. It's 90 pages, it's $250,000. It goes back to 2009. I spent the entire weekend going through the report, and I have come up with 59 that I'd like to write off tonight. They include both of the ones left over from 2009 and various other ones with either, so there's some ways that we can collect. And I think philosophically, my understanding is that when you went to a third-party billing company, that you agreed that, you know, if people really did not have the ability to pay, you were not going to make this an additional hardship for them. And so keeping that in mind, I think I promulgated a policy on how to write off hardship ambulance. So now I have a parameter rather than, because I don't know people in town like Chief Nason does and who is having difficulty. And I don't want to overlook anybody or, send somebody a bill if they're deceased and have their families. So some of this first group that I've chosen are ones that are deceased and have no estate. They're ones that have bad addresses and no social security numbers, so there's nobody to actually, so this first set is 59 bills that total $31,085. And what I would like you to do is give me the permission to write these off with ComStar. And these go from 2009 all the way up to 2017. There is one there from 2017 in April, I believe, that wrote a hardship letter. Had her caseworker from Humana Insurance write a letter for her, which meets our policy requirement. And then I kind of wanted to pick your brains about whether you want to authorize me to write some of these off that have multiple things like a bad address and no social security number. I have taken the liberty of taking all of 2015 and 16s and sending them back to the fire department to tell me what hospital they transported them to see if I can get in touch with the billing director of the hospital to try to get social security numbers. My recommendation would be to write the people a letter and ask them if they can pay. And if they can, great. And if they can't, just write to us and tell us you can't so that we have something in the file, because I don't think it's fair to the people who are paying, even when they kind of can't, to let other people just not pay. And part of the reason that we have to bill everybody is because we can't charge Medicare or Medicaid if we don't bill everybody, whether they have insurance or not. So rather than creating another hardship for people, I just want to make sure that we're writing off and abating ambulance bills fairly and equitably for everybody. If they have insurance and they've submitted to their insurance and there's a balance bill and they can't pay it, just write us a note and say you can't pay it. I've got something for the file and we're done.
Do we want an explanation? I mean, because I can write to you and tell you I can't pay it. I mean, do we need an explanation?
Well, I mean,
of
the
some
other
sort?
thing, that's for you to determine as a policy. I mean, part of our policy says that you'll fill out an application form that has some income, some basic, show us, tell us what you have for income if you're on a fixed income, tell us what you claimed for income tax last year, show us your 1040 form, similar to what people have to fill out for the elderly exemption. Just tell us that you're low income and prove it. And then I don't keep it. I just say that I saw it and I shred it all because I don't want that information on people. But yeah, I mean, that is all part of the payment plan.
Okay.
The other thing we can do is if we don't hear from people, we can threaten to report these to the credit bureaus. And then that might, if we have a social security number, and that might spur people, if they get a bad credit rating, to actually contact us and say, oh my God, I can't pay. I would like to not do that in the first instance and, maybe just send them a letter and say, we're considering reporting this to the credit bureau in 30 days. Please contact us immediately and fill out a hardship abatement form. But I'll do it any way that.
Well, I think that I don't have a problem helping, but I do believe that we need to know that they are in truly hardship and that they're just not avoiding the bill.
Well, and I think that's a fair ask. I mean, that's what you do with abatement for property, or elderly exemptions. They still have to prove that they qualify and that So I don't think that's an unfair ask.
And then I'm willing to help, and like you said, the 59 of them that you have, you've already studied them more than we're gonna sit here and look at them. I'm willing to let you make that decision, get rid of them and move forward on the rest of them.
I just want to get this down to
Oh, I can
a
imagine.
manageable level. And so, and we're carrying this on our balance sheet as bad debt. There's a reserve for this. And so let's get it down to something that is actually what we're going to collect or not collect, and let's
What do you
be
think,
more
Mr. Lehman?
truthful about it.
I think it warrants further discussion, possibly in non-public, given that.
Warrants for a discussion to see which direction to go. I mean,
We were dealing with patients and patients' names and things.
oh yeah, I wouldn't want to discuss any of that, but as for the 59 that she's talking about,
I think the deceased one should be first, the other one should be discussed.
are you in agreement with that, Connie?
Yeah.
All right. So, you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just make a motion to
Yep.
allow the town administrator to contact Comstar and write off the deceased ones?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And could we schedule this in a non-public, next non-public?
Sure.
Okay. Is that all you got?
Nope. So I just want to let you know that I'll be out of the office on Tuesday, November 10th with Selectwoman Twombley. We're going to a Road Maintenance 101 workshop in Concord. So we'll be gone that whole day. I'm holding a Lakes Region Municipal Managers Association lunch in the conference room here on Friday. It's kind of a networking for municipal managers and going over some things that we're all struggling with this time of year. Curtains are done and up,
I see that.
finally. I did want to talk to you guys about moving the Selectmen's meeting from Wednesday the 22nd, which is the night before Thanksgiving, to the following week, which is a 5th. We have a 5th Thursday in November.
I think we've always, if it happens with the day before a major thing, we just kind of either skip it completely or, and you probably can't make the next one, is what you're
The
saying?
29th, yeah, we have a school board meeting that night.
Yeah, so why don't can we just skip it and just go on our regular thing, or do you need us for something?
Well, my suspicion would be, it would be 2 weeks from the last meeting and then 3 weeks to the following meeting, at which I'm not gonna be here. So you go 5, 6, 7 weeks without having me at a meeting. And I suspect that something may come up in November. You're gonna have budgets, you're gonna have warrant articles.
Yeah, so we make a new time sometime.
We can just move the date.
Could you do it Tuesday, the 21st?
Yeah, I'm good for any day.
Do you know if we have anything?
Okay.
Tuesday should be okay.
Okay. And then the only other thing I had is you had asked for some more information from the Gaffney Library and from the PD on budgets. Are you ready to move on those? Do you want to schedule another budget work session? How do you want to handle that?
Can you do it on the Tuesday?
Well, they're meeting with the budget committee meetings are scheduled for the 2nd, 4th, and 9th, so I have to take them selectmen's budgets, or they won't hear those budgets, so I don't know how you want to handle this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We're whispering.
There's a budget committee meeting on the 21st with the school.
What time?
6:30.
Monday. Monday's all right.
Yep.
Right, so Monday, the 20th, we have a meeting as a selectmen's meeting,
Yep,
public, just like we're doing tonight,
yep.
the 20th.
And I basically need you to meet between now and November 2nd when Lino leaves to finish up the PD budget, the highway budget, the Gaffney Library budget, because
When is the second? Next
next
week?
Thursday.
Next Thursday? Can we
Monday.
Monday during the day sometime, I guess.
2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, Connie?
Yep.
So that'll be is that the 30th?
30th.
We have something on the 30th?
Yeah, I do have doctor's appointment comes in. As long as we can get it done before.
Oh, I have an hour meeting, I think. At 11. So what do you want to do, 1:30, 2 o'clock? What do you want to do?
Yeah, we'd have to be done by, if we do 2, we'd have to be done by 3:30.
And I'll see what we would be. It's only that little bit.
Okay, so we're doing Monday, 10:20, 10:30
10:30.
at 2 o'clock.
We got,
All right, I think that's all I have.
all right. We got the treasurer's monthly report.
You know what, I think I forgot to print them.
Yeah, she does.
I emailed them to you, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Building permit releases.
I have 2.
And she got, we got one for
Watch out,
1005 Lodge Road.
John.
Actually, we have a school board meeting on the 20th, which is gonna be the first time that we get the full line item budget one day prior to the budget committee meeting on the 21st. And I would probably say that's gonna be at probably, 5 o'clock on the 20th? And then we'll have a budget committee meeting the following night, the 21st, at 6:30 with the budget committee. We're talking,
Ruining my day, buddy.
I'm not meeting
We're
on
talking
Wednesday night
about-
before Thanksgiving.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm not doing that, so I'm
It's okay,
sorry.
because neither am I. So we're still keeping it 2 o'clock. You
No,
have to
that's
go
for
there.
October 20th. He's talking about the November
You
meeting.
can still keep your meeting time, I'll come over when we're done.
Okay. All right. So 1005 Lord Road, we got a building permit release. Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. We have another one on Village Valley Drive. Can I have a motion to accept that one?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Good.
Also, not on the agenda, Charlie, we did get a petition and hold license in today for Daniel Drive.
Okay.
If you wanted to
Yeah.
consider that.
We got a pool license on Daniel Drive.
Motion to accept as presented, Mr. Chairman?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I got a payment manifest. I got one here for $250. It's to give back or void a check for $250. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's a void.
It's a voided check. Can I get a motion to accept the voided check?
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have a treasurer's warrant for $231.26. That must be to make that one good. Can I have a motion to accept that one?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Can I get that back to Kelly, please?
Thank you.
Oops. I know what
I have a treasurer's warrant for $75,305. That's a cheap month. No big payment. School must have got paid all they did last month.
Is that
it is.
payroll?
That was a payroll.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say.
There should be a payroll and an accounts payable this week.
I only have a payroll, right, a $75,000 one. Oh, this must be one right here, okay. I'll do the $75,305.06. Can I have a motion on the table to accept?
So,
All in favor? Aye.
Kelly, did you say that in November is the 10th?
The date that we're going?
Yes,
Is
I
the
thought it
7th.
was the 7th.
It is the 7th.
Okay.
This is the payroll one?
Maybe I did say the
You said
10th.
the
I meant to
10th.
say the 7th. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
that's all right.
I have a treasurer's warrant for $73,597.83. Can I have a motion to accept that? That is for day-to-day.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I have a second, but hang on for the
Yep.
actual vote. if that's okay.
I didn't sign that 75 one.
No, we didn't need it a ton. Gotta watch you guys.
No, just did this one.
I did this to separate out the funds.
The funds, right?
Remember, you
You
wanted
wanted the funds separated?
Thank you.
So, let's see. That.
What's the fence thing?
What is who?
The fence came with a side gate on posts. I didn't know what that was.
That is, I think, the fence repair at the ball field. What was the name of the company?
GC AAA Fence Company? I should have called and asked earlier, but I didn't get the title.
Yeah, it's 4 foot by 20 foot cantilevered slide gate on 4-inch posts set in concrete with nylon rollers, the 21 feet of 4 foot on one side for the Parks and Rec. To include 20 feet of, or 21 feet of chain link.
Is that part of the skate park, Charlie?
I do not know. I can't answer.
I believe that is fencing that was damaged, and he put in a gate, which is new, I believe, and then repaired some of the fencing. And I signed a purchase order for it because it's under $5,000.
Okay.
This is part of the repairs and maintenance that he does at the end of the year when he gets all the way through and figures out what he has left and what needs to be fixed.
Okay. Good job.
Okay, so we got a motion on the table and a second. All in favor for the acceptance of the warrant article?
Aye.
Warrant treasurer's fund?
Aye.
Aye. That brings us to board minutes. I have, October 3rd,
Thank you, Steve.
well, looks to me like I got 3 sets here.
You got, yeah.
Okay, so,
Actually,
Plus non-public.
You've got 4 dates plus non-public, so.
okay, so I've got a set here for October 3rd, which all of us was present.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion on the table to accept them
Move for the 11th.
for the 3rd, October 3rd?
Apologize.
So moved.
Should be the first one.
This was the budget.
Yes, for our budget night.
One of the budget nights.
Yeah. And it's just all departments as we met.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. I have an October 6th, which we were all present, and it was another budget night. That looks pretty good to me. I mean,
I've already read it.
yeah, so you have them, you know?
Yep, I have it. Thank you. Motion to accept.
Entertain a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. That's done. Okay, so now I have our board meeting, which looks to me like it's just me and Lino on the 11th, Lino. I'll make the motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I think there's two different sections, right? Mr.
You
Chairman?
have,
We have the non-public,
We're accepting
which I
both.
don't see that here on this.
no, they won't be attached, they're right next. They're one, there should be like 6 of them. I believe.
Mr. Chairman, I move the minutes of October 11th, public and non-public.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
And Connie abstains, you're not here. You were here for the,
Non-public.
Not
Yeah.
that day,
See if it-
not that day.
Not that.
oh,
Not
okay.
that day?
All right, good.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Very good.
There's one more set,
We had one more set?
the 18th.
Okay.
Hold on, what's this one?
Those are all your.
Oh, that must be these right here.
Hold on.
They're in a signing frenzy tonight.
See what you missed out on?
Oh, these are the, okay, I see what these are.
Yeah,
They're non-public individually.
yep.
Okay. And you said that we had one more, the 18th? I did. Okay, and that looks to me like we were all here on the October 18th minutes. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
These are just minutes. You have anything to add? Anything we want to talk about? Sure. If not, nothing to go in non-public, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Well,
Adjourn.
we're done already?
Yeah,
Well done, Mr. Chairman.
you're welcome.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.